Okay, I'm going to call the Concord Township Board of Trustees special meeting of August 7th, 2017 to order. I've called for this meeting and based upon our resolution number 2017-16 that is going through the legislative process right now.
Mr. Chairman, I have before me Resolution 2017-25 that I know was generated by legal counsel after you had conversations with him and decided to call this meeting to order here this Monday morning. Resolution 2017-25 is a resolution by the Board of Trustees of Concord Township, Ohio to repeal Resolution 2017-16 to establish Section 21, the Innovative Site PD Overlay District, under the Concord Township zoning resolution, provide for all text and map amendments necessary thereto. I would so move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I think that this action, although in some ways unfortunate, is necessary. From my perspective, the efforts of staff and planning, along with the trustees, to tighten up language over in that Capital District area has sort of taken a left turn. And one of the things that I know is that we have always worked hard to try to build consensus on the things that are going on in the township. And right now we have a group of individuals who is very vocal and very adamant that this process be thwarted, halted. And although I disagree with much of their comments and some of their tactics, I do actually agree with some of their points that have been made. My opinion is that we have been going through a public process, the process that is both laid out in Ohio Revised Code and a process that we have nurtured throughout in terms of making sure that there is an opportunity for public input and public process regarding any zoning changes or anything of that nature that's gone on. I myself am particularly pleased that for the last, especially the last 12 years, this board has worked as a team in building consensus in the community on the things that we've been able to accomplish. I think we've done that, and I would say that there are some challenges right now when it relates to this legislation. And what I would say is that a referendum, has been threatened on this, which in and of itself doesn't bother or concern me. I believe that in the end, a majority of residents would support what has been so diligently laid out and planned, much like the way they supported the hospital when it announced it was moving to Concord or wanted to move to Concord. There was a group of folks that were adamantly opposed, but a vast majority of the public supported it. But in this case, if we were to pass legislation, it would cause, the referendum would not be eligible to make it onto the November ballot. Mm-hmm. And that would be a preferable situation because it would be a process that would go through and have a finite moment in time. A referendum process started in August would lead to to being on the ballot in May, and that's 9 months of division.
Sure.
It's 9 months of contentiousness, vitriol, tearing apart the community potentially. And I know that the three of us, that is not something that we ever want to see. We see that in other communities in the area, specifically if you look at Willoughby Hills. I mean, that community is tearing itself apart. terms of these types of things.
And it takes a toll on the economic development in that area. I mean, I think that in the last 12 years, this board, who come from different portions of Concord Township and different backgrounds, have always been able to reach consensus based upon the simple fact that what we're doing is in the best interest of Concord Township.
Absolutely.
And go ahead, Connie.
And the communication that we have seen over the last 12 years has improved significantly over what it was before. So we really try to communicate with the people.
And this legislation dealt with such a small portion of the township, about 0.73%, which is, I think, actually less than the hospital's footprint.
Right.
Far less.
Right.
And so to have division over such a minute portion of the township appears to be counterproductive of all our other goals in economic development, in bettering and providing amenities to township residents. So that's why I called this meeting this morning. I think that's why it's important for us to make sure that we continue to have a forward progress in the township,
Right.
For the betterment of the township.
Mr. Chairman, as you know, I have ongoing conversations with businesses that are interested in locating to Concord Township. My feeling is that one of the things that I hear when we're out pursuing businesses, or we're out working on those things for our commercial corridor, is people are attracted to Concord because it's seen as a stable and unified, well-run community. And I don't ever want to do something that will potentially cause folks to have a change of that judgment. And if this process is going to become a divisive one, then it's not one that's worth moving forward with. And so obviously as trustees, it's our job to provide leadership and direction on a lot of matters, a wide-ranging bunch of matters as it relates to the governance of this community. And there are some times when you have to recognize that you have to maybe do something that you don't always agree with, but you have to make a different type of decision. So, and really that's what leadership is. So, from my perspective, I believe that we can continue to work on building consensus, informing the public in terms of what's going on. I know that you've been back and looked at a lot of our communications, of which has been substantial. And so, we will just work to try to always work to try to improve that if folks feel that it's inadequate. And then we'll work to build consensus towards development patterns within that commercial corridor that will work for everybody.
I always thought that our role here is to provide good governance. I think we provided that sometimes that requires us to put aside some of our own feelings and do what we believe is in the best interest of the township as a whole. I appreciate your work and Connie's work in discussing economic development and bringing additional businesses into Concord Township. I think that we have a nice division of labor in how we go about doing those things.
Mr. Chairman, I would also point out I would like to thank the County Planning Commission for their work and their staff, as well as our own zoning commission for their long hours and their efforts, in terms of not only on this but in past legislation.
Roll call.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Malczewski?
Yes.
Mrs. Luda?
Yes.
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna close our August 7, 2017 special meeting.
Thank you. I will sign these and then hand them over to you.